Welcome everyone to the most powerful production car to come out of Mercedes-AMG. And just listen to it. It's quiet, it's silent. I can speak to you in almost a whispering tone. Perfect, right? Wrong. Are you out of your mind?
All systems go.
Ready for takeoff.
Oh. Woo! That is the most powerful car to come out of Mercedes-AMG. Oh, that sounds right now. This is the Mercedes-AMG GT63S E-Performance. Yep, that's perfect. Siddhesh, cue montage. But this is that one step up from the BMW M8 competition, up from the Porsche Panamera Turbo S, and it is definitely in its own league because the performance numbers are earth-shattering. 843 horsepower and 1470 Nm. Now it is of course combined power and combined torque. It has that electric motor at the rear with a battery pack, and that is what makes this an e-performance. Now we'll get to the electric part in a bit, but I really want to savor this engine because the last time I drove an AMG, it was the EQS 53, and yes, it had that straight line speed, it had the instant acceleration you get on EVs, but it didn't have the noise, didn't have the soul, didn't have that V8. Didn't have the pops and bangs either. And that is at the very core of any performance car. You know, you talk about supercar, sports sedans, super SUVs, anything, the aural delight and the aural drama is a very, very integral part. Now, of course, on this car as well, the sound is being fed in through the speakers, and that's not a problem because it's not synthesized sound. It is the sound of the V8. It's just being forced in by the speakers, and I don't think that's a problem as long as you can hear it, right? Oh. But of course, you have this button right here which you press and it amplifies the exhaust. It says powerful exhaust note, and that gives you a bit more bass, a bit more punch, and I think that's what people are going to have on at all times. Now the acceleration of course is absolutely savage. 0 to 100 is a claim time of 2.9 seconds. And of course, for a car that weighs almost 2.5 tons, I don't need to tell you how impressive that is. Now 2.9 seconds in a sports car or supercar will feel like base jumping, like you've just jumped off a cliff. In this though, it feels like you're in a house that has been thrown off a cliff because everything is big, but it is all moving at the same pace. Now all that power goes to the wheels via a 9-speed MCD transmission, and yes, it is quick. The shifts are quite fast and they are vicious as well, especially in race mode. You can obviously change that to your liking. You can dull down the shift slightly if you don't want absolutely raucous shifts. However, even in comfort mode, which is supposed to be, you know, one of the laid back modes, when it's shuffling between the gears at slow speeds, it is a bit jerky. But again, you open the tap even slightly, that big V8, that torque that is available in bundles, no matter what gear you're in, no matter how low the revs are, this thing has the power at all times. Now the torque on this e-performance ranges between around 1100 Nm to 1470 Nm, and the 1470 is available only for 10 seconds at full pitch, you know, so that is when it has that boost mode. That's pretty much what it is. So you won't have it all the time, but 1100 Nm is there throughout. That means even an inch of flex of the accelerator and it lunges ahead. What an absolute clown. Now what the e-performance also gets are of course drive modes. It is highly customizable, the whole driving experience. You have 7 modes to choose from, right from slippery to individual to comfort to sport, sport plus and race. Now race of course is for hardcore use, track use predominantly. And the one thing that the e-performance gets is an EL mode. And that means on the knob here, you move from comfort into fully electric. And if the battery has enough juice, you have just transformed the GT63S e-performance into an EQS53. And I'm not kidding, even the electric synthesized sound that we had on the EQS, that spaceship sound. Press the exhaust button, which on an electric is not really exhaust, but you have that spaceship-like exhaust constantly. Can you hear that? Now in EL mode, of course, this car is full electric. It's a plug-in hybrid. And even though it has a charging socket at the back, which can charge with an onboard charger of 3.7 kilowatt AC charge, I don't know how many of you all will actually use it, because the regen or the recuperation is so strong with this car that it charges the battery completely on its own, just using the brakes. But of course, this one is an AMG, so you pop it back into race, and that engine fires into life. Just yells and screams. Okay, for all this histrionics that it has, this abundance of power and that loud V8 and the pops and bangs, you might feel it's not really serious. It's all made for fun, and it is. But under the skin hides some incredibly clever science and maths, a lot of tech involved, and that is all part of the e-performance. Over the rear axle sits a 6.1 kilowatt-hour battery pack, which at just 89 kilograms is quite light. It produces a continuous output of 95 horsepower, but under hard acceleration provides 204 horsepower and 320 Nm for 10 seconds. With a claimed electric-only range of just 12 kilometers, this is not a battery that focuses on range. It is all about performance, and performance that is derived from Formula 1. The cooling and thermal management is the talking point, where the battery has 560 individual cells that have their individual cooling, courtesy a high-performance electric pump that flows coolant through an oil-water heat exchanger attached directly to the battery, and a coolant line that cools the cells with around 14 liters of fluid and helps keep the temperatures in check for maximum performance. The 400-volt system is also quick to charge, and ancillaries like AC and headlamps are powered via a 14 horsepower belt-driven integrated starter generator. Now that battery pack is inspired from Sir Lewis Hamilton's 2015 monster, the W06, 16 wins from 19 races. So they definitely had the car sorted out, and that technology, a part of that, is now in this car. So you can count on how good it is. And it's a good thing that the battery has been inspired from that absolute monster of an F1 car and not Mercedes' this year's car. But who knows? The season is long. Anything can happen, right? But along with the battery, it is of course the electric motor as well that plays a huge part in this e-performance. Now it has a 2-speed transmission in it, and basically what that does is engage the first gear for that raucous shift, that launch that you get. And once the car goes around 130-140 kph, an electric actuator engages the second gear, and that basically allows for a smooth torque transition. What this car also has is an electronic limited slip rear differential, and what that means is when the front starts losing out on grip and traction, the motor can basically send the power through the prop shaft and the drive shaft to the front wheels, and that helps with the handling. And handling on this car, well, let me tell you, it is a bit different. First things first, because of the battery and the motor on the rear axle, the GT63S now has a 50-50 weight distribution, and that helps cornering big time, because this is not a lightweight, this one. It is a big bulky boy. It is long, it is wide, like I said, almost 2.5 tons, and that means there is a lot of car to move around. What helps its case is the all-wheel steering that helps it turn with confidence and is a big help on U-turns as well. But put it in race, and when everything firms up, that is where the magic really begins, because race mode on this car is the fun mode. The steering weighs up, the gearing becomes shorter, you now have full power from the engine and the battery at all times, And that makes this big orange orangutan think like it is a chimpanzee. The agility and just the reflexes are amazing. A lot of this is down to the ride control plus that can be adjusted for various settings ranging from basic in comfort, advanced for sport, pro for sport plus and master for race. Now, one interesting thing about the race mode is that it allows for a little bit of slip for the rear wheels, and that means on the track, and this is strictly on the track, you can get the tail out a bit, have some fun and enjoy it in true AMG fashion, because see, this is a 4-door sedan. It is a super sedan, but it is a practical car. You've got your interior that's absolutely loaded with kit, the dual screens, MBUX, wireless charging, sunroof, you've got memory seats, you've got ventilated and heated seats, Burmester sound system, a lot. And that means it's not a hardcore track focused car. However, when you do go out on the track, it's not going to disappoint you. It's got all the modes, the battery tech and the engine work in incredible fashion together, and you can absolutely have some good hot laps on this. Pull out of the corner. Oy, hard on the brakes. And let's speak about the brakes. Because the e-Performance gets carbon ceramics as standard, that means minimal fade and some very strong stopping power. Downside though is that the pedal feel is not natural. That was one worry I had when I did the walk around, that how does it manage with the carbon ceramics and the energy recuperation, because of course you have the 6.1 kilowatt hour battery pack in there and it has 4 levels of regen as well. So the brake feel, like I said, isn't too natural. It is a bit spongy. But does it stop on a dime? Oh God. Oh yes, it does. I am so glad that AMG has retained the madness that it was once famous for. And with that supercar performance, you get some SUV practicality as well. You've got the back seats that are good enough for 2 idle passengers. You have a tablet back there that tells you what the driver is doing with the engine. You can control the media, the ambient lighting, but come on, who's going to be at the back? That's punishment seat right there. And before you complain that, oh, it's a very low slung car, you're better off with an SUV, let's do a speed breaker test. Race mode on still, and we are through. No need to crab crawl like a supercar, no need to raise the suspension, although when you put it in comfort, the car does go up slightly, and of course that will help. Priced at 3.3 crore rupees, you will have to be committed and ignore some striking supercars and some super SUVs as well. But what you will be paying for is the best hybrid tech on the market and some outstanding performance. And for the owners who actually will buy it, there is a big surprise in store. The keys of the car will be handed over to you by none other than 7-time Formula 1 world champion Sir Lewis Hamilton. Now, I don't care if you're not a Mercedes fan or if you're not a Lewis fan, that is extremely special. It's not a test driver or a Formula 3 racer. He's the most successful racer in F1's history. The man is a legend, like it or not, and for him to hand over the keys to the car is something that will be cherished forever. That is a memory you will have for your life. I mean, kudos to Mercedes India. I don't know how they've managed that, but that is part of the package. So, you want to meet Sir Lewis Hamilton? Now you know how.